and opportunities for him, and they are still making those opportunities.
They just got nobody to put them away.
They're just not putting them away, and I think they're still a very good team. I certainly wouldn't, in any way, write them off. I mean, hopefully we can that Harry Winks and De Bruyne swap will come off for us. But I
and then you woke up as well.
Yeah.
At one time, wasn't.
What about you, Cam? What's gonna happen in January? Are they going to come back in for Harry?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
it's not Winks. Yeah.
Couple of seasons ago, wasn't Winks going?
Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs9501 podcast. This is Ray in London. I've got Steve in London, Jam in Connecticut, and Cam in Florida. So welcome, everybody. We are now doing a post-match analysis fan reaction of Tottenham Hotspur 2, Aston Villa 1. I'm going to hand over to Cam now in Florida just to do a very brief overview on the match stats, Cam.
Okay, so first thing to say is I think that in 15 home games against Villa in all competitions, they've only won twice at White Hart Lane. So things were definitely looking favourable for us in terms of that statistic. We had 57% of the possession, 17 shots as opposed to 14 by Villa. 8 of ours were on target, 3 of theirs were on target, and we had 5 corners. They had 8, which is something we need to talk about set plays here later on. We committed 11 fouls, they committed 14. So that's just a quick overview of some of the stats.
Yeah, I heard all the other stats that we've beaten them the most times than any other team in the Premier League as well, which is good. Well, at least we got our own bogey team as well that we can beat as well, which is good. So let me come to you, Jam. What did you think about the changes in the team? Romero coming in, Skip coming back in. What do you think about the lineup?
I mean, these are long time coming changes. I'm glad Nuno's finally got the message that Dele Alli cannot start for us, cannot probably be on the bench for us. We'll see how that goes. But it's good to see those changes, and especially Romero finally playing, Emerson Royal starting. He was exceptional today, I thought. And the front three pretty much picked themselves, so that's standard. I'm surprised. I hear Brian Gill for Ndombele could have been a change. A lot of people liked, but I think Ndombele played not amazingly, but he was. It's good to see him further up the pitch, getting into the box, and he didn't really do anything today, but at least we didn't have to rely on him being a midfielder.
Sure. Steve, were you happy with the lineup and the changes that Nuno made?
I'm happy with the lineup. Other than I'd like to find a place for Jaffet because I think he's a good player. Quite where he fits into that team, I'm not sure. I still think he's a centre back, and obviously Emerson did quite well today. Although I think Emerson is getting to is trying to get used to the physicality of the game at the moment, and he was bundled over a couple of times, and I'm sure that will come. But I wish we could find somewhere for Jaffet to fit into that structure as well, but I can't see it at the moment.
And Cam, how about yourself with the lineup? Were you happy?
I mean,
or were you still upset with Tonga and Ndombele being in there?
I was upset with Ndombele being in there, but what I would say is that, you've heard me on this channel a number of times saying that, how can you have someone like Romero sitting on the bench when, I thought he was commanding and he was he just looked at ease. And I thought some of his passing was Alderweireld-like, some of his long balls, which was nice to see again. I thought Emerson Royal was fantastic. I think Skip just basically picks himself every week. And what I really liked about having Skip in there, because it's sort of like freed up Hojbjerg to move forward and play more like a Roy Keane type role. I mean, we need to talk about that as well. I think the loose person in that box is Ndombele. If you look at their goal and you look at his positioning, on set plays, he doesn't know whether to defend, whether to go forward. He just stands there in an empty space without marking anybody. I was looking at him particularly because I know you'd asked me this question, and that was that he looks at the ball. He doesn't look at the players when he's defending. He doesn't seem to know who's around him, and he's constantly staring at where the ball going. Ball watching at that level is a complete no-no.
Okay, so Steve, what did you think about the first half and how we played? And because you were actually at the match, so give us some idea about how we played and what was good about the first half for us.
Well, I don't think there was, other than the goal, I'm not sure there was a massive amount to complement the team, really. I thought we were marginally better than Villa. They looked pretty poor, to be honest. Without Grealish, they're a completely different team. they seem to be resorting to a sort of Stoke City, Rory Delap style of trying to get a goal with a throw-in into the big long throw-in into the box, which I think has its place actually, because it is quite exciting to see, and it might, you think there's going to be a chance every time there's a throw-in, but it's a bit one-dimensional. They huffed and puffed. I think McGinn's a good player, but really they looked very average, and I think we looked slightly above average. So I was very pleased to go in at 1-0, but I think we were too slow. We should have attacked them more. We probably let them have the ball for the first 10 minutes, and I couldn't understand what was going on. In fact, I thought, my God, we're going to get soundly beaten here. However, we sort of got back into some sort of equilibrium, and I think slowly improved during the course of the first half. But yeah, we were good to go in at 1-0, and Hojbjerg scored a great goal. He was in the position where you'd expect Ndombele to be, really. Although I think Ndombele did make a run there on the edge of the box to pull players away to give Hojbjerg the space to slot the shot in. And I think it was an assist by Son as well, who I think had an exceptional game, and I think probably both assists as well as a couple of shots. I thought Harry was anonymous, I'm afraid. A couple of maybe speculative shots throughout the game, but I don't know how long we can carry him, really.
Yep. Okay, Steve, thanks for that. Jam, your thoughts on the first half, and who you were impressed with, who played well for you for Tottenham?
Definitely, we got to talk about Emerson Royal playing exceptionally well. He just knows the position properly. One thing with Jaffa is that he doesn't feel like a right back. He plays it well, he defends well, but he doesn't bomb up and down the wings and doesn't know when to actually be in defense and when to actually be in attack. And that's something we've missed for a long time on the right-hand side. Because, with Aurier, he was always, either up there, and if he was back there defending, you're worried he's going to give away a penalty, which wasn't something I felt today. Emerson Royal did some great blocks throughout the match, and it was good to see. Apart from that, who else was up there? Hojbjerg's position was really good. It was interesting, like you said, it was more of a box-to-box player, and it's good to see that in his locker. So I hope we can maybe get some more goals from midfield, because we really need that. And Son, he was just awesome. It's becoming worrying though, because I say it's good to rely on your best players. It's not good, but you rely on your best players because they are your best players. And Kane's going so much further down that we're relying on Son all the time now. If he doesn't do an amazing run, if he doesn't do something spectacular, no one's really ticking, no one's pushing, and it's worrying because he's going to get injured at some point, right? So we need other people to step up. I think it's going to be an interesting question once Bergwijn returns. Is Kane going to hold his position? He seemed to play well in the last maybe 20 minutes of the match. He's more lively, doing some flicks and tricks, and he still got it. He's still talented. He hold the ball well and pass it off well. But what else does he bring to the team?
Yep. Okay, Cam. I mean, some of the chances that Harry Kane had, if Steven Bergwijn had missed those chances, you'd be saying, drop him. We don't want him. Get him out. He can't even put them away. So tell me, what's your thoughts about Harry Kane missing those chances? Should he be still playing in the team, or should we be dropped?
Well, I mean, some of you might remember we had this discussion last season when Kane was not fully fit and always getting on the team and staying on for 90 minutes. And Steve, who's sort of like the contract man of the team here, reckoned that there must be a clause in his contract, which means that he plays every game. Because I can't understand it myself. I think that when you have a player, we did it with Delhi, who's completely out of form or out of touch, you need to kick up the backside. And the only way those kind of players get to kick up the backside is if they're just not guaranteed a game every time, whether they're good, bad, or the ugly. And it's a problem for us. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Kane is totally out of form. I think, is it because his head was turned? Is it because players do go up and down in form? And it's really, what is it now? This is the 7th game in the Premier League, not one goal. I know we used to say Harry Kane can't score in August. Well, now apparently he can't score in August, September, or October. I mean, it's getting worse and worse. So that is a big concern. I just want to say one thing. I think that there's a lot of positives that have come out of this first half. And that has got to be the more Son relationship, because they seem to me to now think, let's just bypass Kane and start playing together. And they with their pace and the speed together, they seem to be playing really well off one another, and I really like that. And I think that Royal and Romero and Skip basically made us look like the team we should have looked at whilst playing against Arsenal.
Yep. Steve, I mean, even though we were 1-0 up at the half-time, I always had the feeling that Villa were going to get back into it. I mean, I always had the thought, although we defended well, a lot of it was harem-scarum defending and last ditch and blah, blah, blah. Did you have the same thoughts, or were you always comfortable that we could hold on to this lead?
Even when we're 3-0 up, I'm never comfortable.
I know that, yeah.
What happened in that second half is that we were put under a lot of pressure, I think partly through our own making. We tended to dwell on the ball. We took our goal kicks, of which we had many, because they had loads of corners and loads of attacking throw-ins. Yep. We just took so long to do everything. We should have taken the game to them, and we didn't. We sat back, we defended deeper.
Yep. And
then inevitably, the goal happened, which I know we've been trumpeting Romero's performance, but was actually, I believe, his fault. He tried to step in and nick the ball and didn't. In fact, I think he probably fouled the player, in fact. Yep. And so he was out of position. And frankly, these sorts of things happen to every player, and he was unlucky that it then led to a goal. Because I think up until then, he'd been our best player. And I think he probably still was our best player, even though he gave that goal away. I probably wouldn't be saying this if we'd lost 2-1. But yeah, I think that was his fault. We sat back, and then we hit them almost immediately in the second half. Hit them straight back. But again, that was probably the best goal. Lovely move, and Son playing very well. Across the ball from Moura. I wasn't absolutely certain whether Moura got the touch or the defender got the touch. But it doesn't matter, does it? It's in that danger area.
Yeah. But it would have broken Moura's streak. Cam told us he hasn't scored since February this year.
Okay.
So
would
have broken his streak, but unfortunately didn't. But how did Eric Dyer play today, Steve?
Well, I think Dyer played well. I think he made one misplaced pass probably in the first half. But other than that, he looked very solid. It's about the decision making, I think, particularly when you're a centre half. And I think in the second half he let the ball bounce once as well, when he shouldn't have done. He should have just headed that directly. He starts to believe his own publicity on occasion, and we all have to recognise, what our strengths and weaknesses are. And the thing is, he's a very strong player, a very combative player, and he can head the ball relatively well and great distance. So I thought he played well. I thought Romero played well as well. I think that generally the defence did pretty well.
What about Reguilon?
Well, he does come across as a bit of a headless chicken. I think he had probably one of his better games today. He was surging forward. He was taking the ball towards their end of the field, which I think is good. And that's when they get nervous and worried about it. And he is very fast, but he never quite seems to have the ball perfectly under control. A bit the way sometimes Moura doesn't, but it's still scary to have people with pace running at you, and that's what he does.
Okay. Jam, what was your and I'll come to Cam in a minute, but Jam, what's your thoughts on the second half performance? Were you surprised that Aston Villa equalised, or were you half expecting them to come back into it?
I was expecting them. They had been coming, but I feel like before they scored, we had a good 2 or 3 opportunities to score. There was that Son chance where Dyer pressed it up, and it was a beautiful ball forward. Son ran onto it. I was like sure he was going to score. He didn't put it to the far post. He tried to go under the keeper's legs, and keeper made a really good save. There was another big opportunity. I don't remember too well, but that was just before they scored. And then they scored. It was a good goal, but it was clearly Romero's bad positioning. He went rushed out, tried to make an awful tackle, got a yellow card for it, and that's just something that's gonna. After playing a few matches, after getting used to the pace of the Premier League and knowing, where your teammates are going to be after you rush out, or them expecting you to rush out, because it left for Emerson Royal in a 2v1 when the ball went out wide, and he doesn't know who to cover. Then Dyer, he definitely could have done better once the ball did come back in, but he was in a position where, do I go? Do I stay? He could have done better for the goal, but I definitely put that on Romero. But I don't take anything away from his performance today, because he was excellent. He's what we've needed for a while. He's a leader on the ball in the middle of the park that doesn't seem nervous when he has to defend, And then Son's goal was exceptional. I think Reggie let him passed the ball up to him, seeing his run, and Son took it away. He once he's running, I don't think there's many players in the league who can catch him. Good cross into Lucas, and we need to see more of Lucas in the box, because he brings a lot to the team, kind of in the middle section between midfield and to the box. But then once it's in the box, he's hardly ever there, and hopefully he can score some more goals this season. And then
Can I just comment on that?
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Just very, very briefly.
Absolutely.
When Son was breaking, I was looking at Harry Kane, and I thought, you've got to bust a gut to get in the area here.
And he didn't.
He almost jogged.
Yeah.
And I was screaming from what used to be the terraces, bust a gut to get in there. Get in there.
Yeah, the desire doesn't seem to be there.
No. Kane. I mean, all the defenders came towards Kane, which kind of gave Lucas the space to come around the back. But it's true. So when you're in that position, you instantly look for where Kane is, because you expect Son to find the ball to Kane. Fortunately, Son's smarter than us and passed it to Lucas. But Kane was in no man's land. There was no way he was going to influence that play. Apart from, I suppose he dragged the defenders away, but that just comes from reputations more than what he actually did on the field. And then, but I did want to say about Kane is that once it seemed like he still got it. He scored a hat trick the other day, and I know it was against lower opposition, but positional and skill wise, they were excellent goals that he scored. They weren't easy, except for the tap in. But and then towards the last 15 minutes of the match, he was doing flicks and tricks and doing that little pass to Lo Celso. That was beautiful. Lo Celso should have finished that. I mean, fair play to Tyrone Mings on that one. Very good block, but we should have definitely scored more goals today. I think we could have easily beat them good 4-5-1.
Okay, Jam. Cam, your thoughts on the second half, and what did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, we knew that Villa were going to come at us. I think that the one thing that really worries me about the Spurs team, I know we've discussed this a lot, is that when a team does decide to press high and hit us, we really start to buckle very quickly. We did that against Arsenal, and the thing that really shocked me today was that Villa didn't do that at all. They did it against Man United, and they actually beat Man United at Manchester United, but they didn't press on us at all. There was no pressing from Villa. They were sedentary in their movement. First 10 minutes of second half, they pressed, they got their goal, and they did put us under pressure, and we looked like we were going to concede. Why does that worry me? That worries me because a team like Villa that didn't come to press today let us get away with a lot of stuff. What happens when the high-pressing teams do come to White Hart Lane, or when we go to them? We're going to be overrun again.
Are we good enough to play ourselves out from the high press, Cam?
I didn't see it today, you see, because Villa didn't consistently press apart from that time when they got the goal. After that goal, I thought we played pretty well. We came back and we started pressing ourselves pretty well. My big concern would be in the second half. Son's been immaculate. Kane's out of form, but Jam said it earlier, goals from midfield, where are they coming from? We had Anomaly was put through with a beautiful ball.
Yeah, his first touch was really bad, yeah.
His first touch was awful. It was so bad. It wasn't, I could have touched it better than that.
Yeah,
in that position.
No pressure at that.
No pressure at all.
Lo Celso beautifully played through by Kane. He should have finished that goal.
You should have not just finished that goal. I know that Jam says that, Tyrone Mings well positioned. If you look at that again, it wasn't even going in. I don't even believe it was on target.
I think it might have been just going in.
I don't think it was.
I think it was going wide, actually.
It was going wide. And the worrying, that in itself, so basically they were both saved from their embarrassment by this defending. Now, that is got to be a real concern for us. If we've got these two guys, right, came in and they cannot give us anything, who's gonna, we know Bergwijn can't score to save his life. So who's left? Brian Gill?
Cam, let me ask you a question. If Lo Celso's the answer, what's the question?
Exactly. The question really has always been, who's going to step up to Eriksen's shoes? Who's going to be that creative midfielder?
Steve mentioned that Dyer, and I think Jan mentioned making long passes, because nobody can transition it through midfield to make that pass, so they're going long all the time. Yeah. Now, one time, Harry Kane actually picked up the ball just outside the 18-yard box, he got it from Dyer, and he was that far back. I'm saying, what are you doing that far back, for God's sake? And it's because we don't have anybody that can take it and pass the ball through.
No, we can't. And it looks like, the only one to me today that was doing it with any effectiveness was Hojbjerg. He did play more of a box-to-box thing. And I think having Skip there gave him that confidence because,
Skip added so much value to this team, I'm telling you.
When we were playing against Arsenal without Skip, Hojbjerg was basically he was run ragged. He had to run and take on 3 young, very fast Arsenal midfielders that were overrunning us. Right today, he was given a bit more of the freedom of the park, and I think that he really rose, increased his game. Great take on the goal too. Just about the goal, the first goal. I think that is very unfair not to give it to Mora. Mora did get a touch on the ball.
Well, I don't know if he got the last touch. It's always the last touch, yeah, not the first touch. But anyway, let's not spend our whole BMA talking about Moro. If he's got it, great. If he hasn't, he hasn't. But let me I want to talk about Harry Kane now. This is a big problem that we have. What are we actually going to do with this guy? Jam, what do you think we should do with Harry Kane now? I mean, he's had enough chances to score today. I mean, on form and probably motivated, Harry Kane would have put at least one of those chances away. Can we keep, we got not lucky, we played well and we won. Another day, he misses those chances, we're going to lose. So what do we do with him now, Jam?
A couple of weeks ago, I'd have said let's drop Harry Kane, but now it's gotten to a point where we have 2 weeks off. Harry Kane's going to go away and have vacation or play for England and be happy. Then we're in the middle of October, and we're 2 months away from the transfer market. And realistically, if he's going to go in January, he's going to go. And I think if he goes in January, he still wants to get the Golden Boot at the end of the year, right? So he's going to try and start. He's got to keep playing. He's got to keep playing. There's no other option. Our other option is Bergwijn, and then what? We're gonna depend on Ndombele to create chances for them. It's just not gonna happen, Okay. I think our bigger question is who's our central attacking midfielder, because can't do it, and Ndombele can't do it, Dele Alli can't do it.
Well, we were going to talk about that. I just want to talk about Harry Kane, but the thing is, you see, Steve, his heart is not in it, actually. I mean, as you said, he didn't bust a gut to get into the thing. His body language, he's getting passes and his body language is all bad, Steve. This is going to permeate to the rest of the team, isn't it? Isn't he like a bad apple in the team now?
I think that's probably an extreme analysis of it, because I still think he's a good player, and I still think...
Oh, no, I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm just saying his heart is not with Tottenham. That's all I'm saying. He's a great player, obviously.
I think that's partly true, but it's how there are other ways of motivating players other than just thinking I want to be away. I think Jam talked about him playing the last 20 minutes, 15 minutes with flicks and setting up the Celso and stuff like that. What happened there is he got angry. I was watching this. There was an incident when I think either he fell out with the linesman or there was something over right opposite from where I was, but he got angry. For some reason, he got angry. I wasn't quite sure what it was. And that was the turning point for him. That was enough motivation to get him closing down, to get him trying things which he didn't before. I don't know what that was, but we need to capture that. He needs to be motivated in some way. You'd normally expect the manager to do that, as well as you'd expect a professional to be self-motivated as well. But maybe he needs a bit of a kick up the arse every 10 minutes in a game to keep him a bit alive. Maybe some sort of electric shock treatment, just to get him awake. But up until the last 15 minutes, I don't think he won a header competing with their centre halves.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see his stats, Cam. But if Steve says, like he says, his heart's not in it, he doesn't want to be here. Do we keep playing him, or do we just say, what do we do, Cam?
I think that Jam's right. You've got to, when you have a player of that caliber who can change the game at any moment in time. The thing is, we've all seen Kane go through the motions before, where he's sat there for about 80 minutes doing nothing, and then bang, he's won you the game with one chance that he's been given. So he is a high in impact player. The problem that we've got from this season's Kane as opposed to last season's Kane was that he was a true number 10. He was dropping deep, but he was creating so many chances. He was spreading that ball, bringing players in left and right on both sides. And his assist was the number 1 in the league. I don't believe he's got an assist this year, has he? He's got an assist in the Premier League at least?
No, I don't think so.
No. So no assists, no goals. And we're already into game 9. Only 38 games, so we've got 29 to go in the Premier League, that is. We will play him. I think that the January transfer window will be very interesting. My big issue, Ray, is I say play him. My issue is, why do we ever take him up and replace him?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't we substitute him? Yeah.
Why is he never, ever, ever substituted? Because, every player has a good moment.
Well, I think it comes back to what you said, Cam, that within a second he can score a goal. If he has not done anything for 80 minutes and he can score a goal, no manager's prepared to take the risk to take him off.
The other thing I noticed about him, Ray, is that he seems to thrive a lot better. I know Jam said in the last 20 minutes he played better, and Steve said in the last 20 minutes he played better. But I think that he thrives in the last 20 minutes when the other team tires. When they start to tire and spaces start to open up, he seems to get a bit more space and a bit more time. And that's when he's just scored a lot of his goals. So maybe that's why they keep him on.
Yep. Okay, Steve, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jam.
I mean, just having him on the field draws players. No one's going to leave Harry Kane, even if he's playing the worst he's ever played. No one's going to leave him free because he will pick up a ball, he will turn around and take a shot. You saw that shot he tried to take at the halfway line. That's not many players do that. That's a smart move. He's a smart player.
Yeah.
If he had scored that goal, we'd be talking about something else, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to come to all three of you now. So there's a lot of pressure on Nuno at the moment. So Steve, a good win against a good team, Aston Villa. Is all hunky dory with Nuno now? Are we all happy?
Well, I mean, of course we're not, and one win doesn't make a season, does it? I mean, we've just suffered defeats 3-0. Or 3-1 and 3-0 and 3-0 against teams you'd expect us to put up a bit of a fight against. So one swallow doesn't make a summer, I'm afraid. We need a run of 5 or 6 good results before you could say Nuno is doing something good. And I think it's also the way we play. I mean, I still think we play too defensively.
How did we play today? Were we more offensive today, or were we still defensive?
I think we were still defensive. We still tried to play on the break. I mean, Villa didn't quite press us in the way that if I was an opposing manager, I'd say get in their faces from day one. Absolutely. Yes. Get them rattled.
Yep.
I don't know why teams don't do that. Certainly Arsenal did, and certainly Palace did as well.
Yeah.
I think it's too early to tell. I'm not one of these, Nuno should be out by Christmas sort of people, because I think it's also about the players. It's not just about him and the tactics. It's also about the players as well. I just want to see a free-flowing attacking football, and I know you can't always do that, especially when you're up against better teams. But we have played teams where we should be the dominant. We should have more possession than they do, for example, and we don't, do we?
No. Okay, Jam. What about Nuno's position now? You happier now? You more than happy for him to carry on?
I'm sorry about that. So I think there are times this season that we've seen Nuno's, vision come to fruition, and it hasn't happened very often. It's only happened in glimpses throughout all the matches. There was a few moments against City. There's a few moments today where we countered super quickly, and there's pinging passes, bam, bam, bam. Ball is in attack, and it happens quickly. And I think if we could see that often, we would all be happy. But the problem is that the players aren't really doing that. I think a lot of the times our players feel like they can just kind of show up and be the better team because they're more talented than the opposition, which is just not the case in the Premier League. That's never going to happen. Nuno is not the way forward, I don't think, but I also feel like, we can't get rid of him now. Last week I was all Nuno out. Don't want to see him anymore. I want to change. I need to change, but it's just not going to happen. And so we are where we are. Nuno shouldn't have been hired from the first place, is what my opinion is on that.
Okay. And Cam, last week you said, Romero should have started, so he started. You said Skip should have started. Skip started. You said, I can't remember, who else did you say he should have started?
Royal.
Skip and Royal, yeah. So they all three started, like you said. So you must be happy with Nuno, aren't you? Happy with what he's doing?
Well, I'm glad that he's listening to me. He's got to listen to somebody.
He's watching the podcast, it looks like.
Right, yeah. I mean, the thing is, what upsets me is that why they didn't start against Arsenal.
Okay, but that's gone now. Let's just put that back. Let's move forward now.
Yeah, I think that's a beginning, and the things are looking better. My concern is exactly what Steve said and Jam have said. We faced a Villa team that came today as if they just were not interested in pressing. I don't know what they came to do, but they didn't look like they.
But we can only beat what's in front of us, Cam. We can only beat what's in front of us. Yeah.
My concern is great. I'm glad that we won, and I didn't predict that we would, and I apologize profusely for that. I'm very happy.
I predicted correctly. I said 2-1 Tottenham, and I got 100% right.
Yeah, 100%. Congratulations. My view is that next game is away to Newcastle. Newcastle haven't won a game yet,
but they haven't played Tottenham yet. Yeah, don't forget that. So we always break the record. Yeah,
but we have a couple of games coming up this year before Christmas. One of them is going to be Manchester United at home. It's going to be Brighton. There's a game Brighton away now for us.
There's West Ham away as well.
West Ham away, Brighton away, and there's Liverpool coming up this side of Christmas. Now, I mean, isn't it so strange that I'm sitting there talking to you guys and saying Brighton away is a game we should be scared of? Or, going to West Ham for us is almost a guaranteed loss of 3 points. And that's where we are. And I think that, as a Spurs fan, and all those Spurs fans out there will think, if that's the level that we're at, then we're going to need to change the manager. And I believe that Nuno will stay till Christmas. If he does manage to change it around and we do win, get something from Manchester United, whether it's a draw, expect to lose against Liverpool, maybe pick something up against West Ham, a draw, and maybe beat Brighton, he'll be there till the end of the season. If that doesn't happen, I can't see it myself.
Well, we're only 2 points up top 4 now, so it's not such a bad as people make it out to be, is it, Cam?
It's 4 points off.
No, is it 4 points off? I'm not sure. We got 12 and it's 14.
Can I give you another? I'm sorry. Can I interrupt and give another perspective on that? West Ham has always been a tough match, no matter where we are in the league. Away at West Ham, we've that's just gonna happen. That's their European Cup final. Brighton are 2 points off, are level on points with Man City right now. 2 points off top of the table. I think looking at all the teams above us, the bigger picture of things, we've got 12 points and we're 4 points off the table. We could be a lot worse off, even after losing those 3 matches that we lost. We have to have some hope. Okay, we're not as bad as we.
Cam was laughing at us when I said Graham Potter as manager. Cam was laughing all the time. Now who's laughing, Cam?
Graham Potter's laughing now.
Potterball.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, Cam, I agree with what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Where I disagree with you is look at our goal difference. We're on -4. We're the only team in the top 10 with a minus goal difference. We still are not sure because Steve can't answer this, Ray can't answer this, you can't answer this. Where are the goals going to come from? Who's the 20-30 person goal scorer if Kane is not delivering, which he clearly isn't? We're already, a quarter or nearly a quarter of the way through the season. Yeah. So my view here is I can't see it. Now, the prediction on the supercomputer is that Tottenham would come in 7th. I think there's some supercomputer right now doesn't look too bad. Are we happy with 7th? Is that what we bought a new manager in for? Otherwise, why didn't we stay with Mourinho or Pochettino? So it's about what are our ambitions? Because you're absolutely right, Jan. West Ham away, or West Ham was their European Cup final. Unfortunately, now it's our European Cup final because we're the ones who can't beat them. We don't raise our game against Chelsea. We don't raise our game against Arsenal. If we don't raise our game against West Ham, then who are we? What is our identity now? My biggest issue is that, we can win some games, we can plod along, but our identity used to be we would raise our game against Arsenal. We would try and fight against Chelsea. We had some identity that was a North London identity, which was something that meant something, some passion. If we've lost that and we've handed that over to West Ham and to Arsenal, then what is our identity? Well, are we just a top 10, top 7 team? I mean, we seem to have lost what Spurs meant.
Yep.
I like to think what you guys think of that, and that's why I don't like Nuno.
Okay. I think we get you don't like, but let's have a quick. I wanted to have, before we finish off, I just want to get your thoughts on the rest of the Premier League season. So let's start with you, Jam. 2-2 draw, Man City and Liverpool, Brentford beating West Ham, Man United drawing. Give us your thoughts on the rest of the Premier League. What stood out for you and stuff like that?
I mean, Brentford and Brighton right now are the teams the enjoyable teams to watch. They're just so fun to watch, and they're always going to have a good match. That City Liverpool game today was exceptional. Mo Salah is just, he just is like fine wine. He just keeps getting better every season. It's exceptional. I love seeing Man United suffer. I hope it continues, and I don't want, my dream is let's finish above Man United. But honestly,
we do that,
with the expenditure that they've had, those top 4 clubs, I think our season ambitions were always top 6. I don't think we're going to get top 6 this season, though. That's just where I'm at. And sure. I think, like I said, it's not Nuno's fault. It's, I don't like Nuno because of the soul of the club has left us, and it comes down to ENIC. And I know I always come back to it, but there's a real problem there.
ENIC FC, yeah. Steve, your final thoughts on your thoughts on the rest of the games in the Premier League. What stood out for you? What's taken your notice?
I mean, I think all teams are dropping points, aren't they? Even the top teams are. The sense I had of the game today was that whilst it was entertaining in parts, it was a mid-table clash. I didn't think this was going to be deciding the championship or relegation. It was just two relatively mediocre teams, which with flashes of inspiration, of which we had more, and therefore won. So, I think we're top half, let alone top six, really, I'm afraid. I wish that wasn't the case. And then we hope for the usual cup run, don't we?
Yeah. Are these teams like Brighton and Aston Villa, Brentford, are they catching up on us now? Are we sort of, going backwards and they're catching up on us, Steve?
Well, I think as the TV money becomes an increasingly higher percentage of a club's income, you can be a relatively small supported club and still get quite a lot of cash in there. And I mean, Brentford are just playing with, and they've lost key players as well, haven't they, in the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, Ollie Watkins,
Ben Rama. They look a good, a good team, and so do Brighton. I think any it's 11 against 11, isn't it? And if you've got players who are committed, you can always give another team a game. That's why it's so rare to find a team that goes unbeaten. It doesn't happen. It might happen in rugby, but it doesn't happen in football.
No. Okay,
so
Steve,
I think it's still very competitive. And if we string 3 or 4 wins on the trot, we'll be looking at the championship again, won't we?
Yep. Cam, anything that stuck out for you for the rest of the games in the Premier League, and what's taken your notice?
Well, firstly, I mean, I hear that Mo Salah's not signing a new contract because he should have come and get me plea to Tottenham. No?
And then you woke up. Then you woke up, Cam. Then you woke up. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that Brentford are having the first season honeymoon. They'll do great this season. Next season they'll be relegated. I think Sheffield United 2 seasons back. Yeah. I think the same thing may be happening to Leeds. The great season for first season.
They won, didn't they? Yeah.
Yep, they've only just won. Yeah. Only just won against
Watford. Watford has sacked their manager, haven't they?
Sacked their manager. They were so upset to lose to Leeds. Wow. I think that for me, the whole season is going to be between Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. I think Manchester United just, unless they get rid of Ollie, are not going to be that team up there. And the 4th place is going to be open. I think the most interesting thing for me, Ray, really interesting, we see that's gone under the radar a bit, is the demise of Leicester under
Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan Rodgers, and last season you were all screaming Rodgers. But I mean, I watched them today a little bit. Well, obviously they played the same time as we did, but it was being shown in a parallel time here in the US, and they they were 2-0 up and drew 2-2 against not that great a Palace team, even though we lost 3-0. So that for me,
I think it's we've got to wait 10 games, Cam, before the league settles down. Really,
it does. But I would like to say one more thing. I mean, the thing is Arsenal look like they're on their way up. They look like they got a young, hungry team, and they seem to have got the worst of it. And at that same time, we're on our way down. So, I mean, that in itself is probably one of the most depressing things that I've seen so far in this season.
Do you think I'm going to go? Sorry, I'm really interested in this. I'm just going to go around the panel very quickly. Start with you, Jam. Do you think City, even though they drew 2-2, they got problems scoring. They couldn't score against PSG, etc. Do you think they're going to come in again in January for Kane?
I think they might need to. I thought there was a time I thought, even if City do get Kane, then it's not really going to improve them that much. They're far superior than the rest of the other teams in the league. But I think City have a way to go to catch up to Chelsea and Liverpool right now. Those two seem
okay.
I think it comes down to youth in their ranks. Chelsea have so much young talent that wants to play for Chelsea because they've come up through their academy. Liverpool have so many raw young talents that want to play for Liverpool, again from their academy. You look at City and you can think of maybe Foden. That's about it.
Okay.
That's football though.
Yep. Steve, do you think they're going to come back in again in January for Kane?
I think they will, because if Kane plays for them, and he's going to get a lot of the ball, much more of the ball than he does at Spurs. He's going to be getting it in the last third. I think they're going to make lots of chances and opportunities for him. And they are still making those opportunities.
They've just got nobody to put them away.
They're just not putting them away. And I think they're still a very good team. I certainly wouldn't in any way write them off. I mean, hopefully we can that Harry Winks and De Bruyne swap will come off for us. But I
and then you woke up as well.
Yeah.
At one time, wasn't.
What about you, Cam? What's going to happen in January? Are they going to come back in for Harry?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
It's not Winks. Yeah.
Couple of seasons ago, wasn't Winks going to Real Madrid?
I think Winks can't go anywhere, mate. He's there for life. He's one of our own, so he's not going anywhere. But do you think they're going to come back in January for him?
I think someone's going to come in for Kane. I mean, the situation is, right, where we've got, another maybe 8-9 games before the January transfer window. He hasn't scored any goals in the Premier League now. He might get a couple. He might get 2 or 3. If he doesn't score many, the question really is, how much are we people now going to pay for him? Because what we could have got in the summer, surely we won't be getting in the January window. Our biggest problem will be that then nobody will be willing to sell at a reasonable price in the January window, so we're going to be a bit stuck. My other and so we've got City at the obvious place. They're the only ones really that could come in for him. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some other clubs did too, because he's definitely probably will be going in January. However, will we be able to get anybody in? And will it be seen as a really big failure on behalf of Vennick and Levy holding on to him needlessly in the summer?
Yeah, if he's not scoring any goals, Cam, then there might not be. We might not be missing anything though. If he's
we lost a lot of money. I mean, what we're going to get for him?
Yeah, he's a big asset for us.
I don't see Levy letting him go for.
I don't see him letting him go.
He's still got 3 years on his contract. Sit there. That's what I say.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. This is Ray from Spurs941. Thanks to Steve in London, Jam in Connecticut, Cam in Florida. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Please share the content with everybody. Tell us what you want to talk about. We're going to be doing another live stream, hopefully on Friday, with the fan cam, with the Q&A with Cam, our expert. And we wish you all the best. And we'll probably see you after the international break now. So we wish you all a restful break. Enjoy all the international matches. I'm sure Steve, Cam, and Jam will be watching all the international matches, won't you guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll see you after the Spurs. Let's do a quick prediction. Steve, Newcastle Spurs.
Oh, I think we can beat them there. I think we'll win 1-0.
Okay, great. Jam?
Yeah, I see a Harry Kane hat-trick coming up. 3-0.
Okay, Cam?
I see a 3-2 to Spurs, just about nicking it.
I say 3-1 to Tottenham. So let's hope we're all right then. Thanks, guys. Take care. We'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.